Well, hello, my Lionesses out there. This is Catherine Cooper with the Lair Studio, and do I have a video for you today? I want to continue with what I was talking about last week when it came to stop spinning your wheels, stop burning out, things like that. But this time I've got a great tool for you to use. Today is going to be all about what you need in order to know to take back your time. How many of you want to take back your time? You feel like your time belongs to everything and everyone else other than the things that matter to you. And how to be productive, extraordinary productivity without, guys, that's the key, without wasted energy. So let's get right into this because this is going to be a quick video, but I'm going to give you some good tools. So you may want to stop, pause, go get a piece of paper because you're going to want to take notes. I'm telling you, you're going to want to take notes. I got this class and I was involved in a training and I got this information and I was like, man, I've got to share this with the Lionesses out there because this is so helpful. And because I'm one that I'm a little bit everywhere. I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. I have a lot of roles. And for most of us Lionesses, that's how we are, right? Because we're at the core and the center of a lot of different things, whether it's our jobs, our homes, our communities, our volunteerism, whatever it is we're doing, we're involved in a lot of things. And so how can you take back your time and be more productive without wasting your energy? So we're going to get right into it. But before we do that, I haven't been saying this on any of my videos, and it dawned on me the other day and I was like, oh my God, Kathy, you've been forgetting to say this. But go ahead and like this video if this video gives you any kind of information that's helpful. Also, subscribe to our channel. We are going to have more videos every week. I'm going to be pulling up a video and posting just great content and information for you to help you just be more productive. We're going to talk about everything faith, family, and femalepreneurism. For those of you that are entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs, it's going to be to help you to thrive in everything that you're called to do. So go ahead and subscribe to this page. Give us a thumbs up so that the algorithm knows that this is content that more people need to see. And make sure when you subscribe that you hit the notification bell so that way you get noticed. You get notification on every time we upload a video. So let's just jump right into this. So today I want to talk to you about something I learned. Now, this is not what I made up, but however, I took a lot of information that was given at this training and I condensed it. So one of my my gifts, if you want to call it that, my skills is that I take complex things and I make them simplified so that you can apply it and learn it and in an understandable way and apply it to your life and walk it out. And so I love doing that. I love studying things, reading books, and I love coming back and sharing it with people in a way that they can understand, breaking it down in more simpler terms. And so today what I'm going to talk to you is about something that I learned. Now, this is not mine, like I said, so I'm going to give credit where credit is due. This is part of the Franklin Covey Institute. And what I learned about, this was a class that I took called The 5 Choices to Extraordinary Productivity. This was a class I had to take and it was so productive. Like, it was so good. There was so much good information. I could do this series for days because there was just so many tools, so many ways to help be more productive in this learning. But I took this piece out because this is the most effective tool to help you take back your time. So we're going to talk today about the time matrix. They call it the time matrix. And what that is, and some of you might have heard of this, some of you might have seen it before, or maybe some form of it, maybe by other coaches, other teachers, other writers and authors. And everybody kind of takes this theme and they put their own spin on it. So what I did was I just gathered all the information that was taught and I just condensed it to where I could teach it to you in maybe hopefully 5-10 minutes. So that way it's something you can grab a hold of and learn and apply it and run with it. So let's go right into this. So the time matrix, you want to take like 4 quadrants, right? Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So you've got 4 boxes that make up one big box, right? So you can draw one big box. Remember when you were a kid and you drew a big box and you made it look like a gift? You put a cross in there, and then you drew some bows on top. Anyway, you could do that as well. You could draw it like it's a gift, because you're giving yourself back the gift of time and energy with this. Oh, I like that. Anyway, so quadrant one, okay, before I go there, before I describe the quadrants, let me say this. So as you go up the scale, as you go up the matrix, you're going to be going from not important. So if you're drawing this out, you guys, while I'm talking, all the way to the left, you're going to start at the bottom and you're going to say not important, and you're going to draw an arrow going up saying important. So you're going from not important to important. And then at the bottom, horizontally, so that's vertical, horizontally, you're going to go from the left corner of the box at the bottom and draw an arrow going towards the right, and you're going to go from urgent to not urgent. Okay? And so now we're going to get into the quadrants and what they mean. And I just think this is so cool, right? So quadrant one are your necessities. Your necessities. Now, these are the things that are important and urgent. Important and urgent. So what do I mean by important and urgent? Here are some examples. Crises, emergency meetings, last minute deadlines, pressing problems, unforeseen events. So your kid gets sick, they have to go to the doctor. It's like last minute things that are very important and have to be attended to now. There's an emergency, there's an accident, a last minute meeting that was brought together because there are some things that are potentially hindering you from being productive or moving forward, but urgent, like, hey, our account is on hold, our bank account is on hold, or someone has stolen our credit card, or just something that is urgent and important and needs to be tended to, right? So here's the effect though. We are not called to live always in this place, and the effect of that, eventually long-term effect of that, is burnout, guys. When we live in constant urgent and importance, we put ourselves in a state of burnout. For some of you that are in burnout, how much of your days are filled with the necessities, the urgent and the important? They're urgent and important. We are not called, we're called to kind of live in those moments through our adrenaline and get things done, and then move on into a different quadrant that's not as pressing, because your body just needs the time to recover, right? So here's the action that you need to take. Like I said, you handle the situation and then you move on to a different quadrant, and we're going to talk about those other quadrants. You make a conscious choice to pull back and give yourself some breathing room so that you can bring the adrenaline down. When you live in constant necessity, quadrant one, where you're in important and urgent, these are the crises, the emergencies, the last minute things, rushing, running around, things like that, you eventually wind up putting yourself, like I said, in a state of burnout, and you are not called to live in that place. This is where our immune systems become compromised. We don't sleep. We start gaining weight, ladies. There is that chemical in the body, that hormone cortisol, because what happens is when you're running on adrenaline, that's that fight or flight kind of mode, and it gives you the push you need. It gives you the hormone and the chemical you need to be able to pursue the fight or flight, but you're not called to live there. And I think in our culture, a lot of women just live there because there's always something going on, but we can take our time back. Let me hear it from the people in the back. I'm taking my time back. Repeat after me, right? So then you've got quadrant two. Now, quadrant two is what Franklin Covey calls the extraordinary productivity. This is the ideal quadrant. And in quadrant two, this is, for examples, you have proactive work, high impact goals, creative thinking. This is where creativity comes through. Planning, prevention, relationship building, so making connections, networking, learning and renewal. This is where the rejuvenation comes. This is where restoration comes. This is the connections come in this quadrant, and it's intentional, you guys. I'm going to repeat that again. It's intentional. These things do not happen by themselves. They do not happen by themselves. When you're in this place, the long-term effect of the extraordinary productivity is you get a higher rate of return on investment. You have to be intentional. I want to even put it like this. You get a higher rate of intentionality. Your intentionality is your investment, and you get a higher rate of return for that. Also, you put yourself in a place of significance. This is what builds up our fulfillment, our sense of significance, our sense of belonging, our sense of value. If you're missing all those things, you want to spend more time activities that belong in quadrant 2. And the way to do that, the way that that's going to happen is you have to schedule it and plan it. I know, I don't mean planet like Earth, Pluto, or any of those things. I mean, plan it. But plan those things. They have to go on your calendar. They have to go, and whatever you use to schedule yourself, it has to go on there. Even sleep, even rest, even play, even shopping, even talking with and connecting and calling and following up with someone that you've been wanting to talk to for a long time. I've always said it in my videos, and I said it last week. We are not tired from the things that we are doing. We are tired from the things that we are not doing, because there are things that cause us fulfillment. And when you are fulfilled, your energy level rises up. Remember, guys, I just said there's a rate of return for your investment, for your intentionality. This is the place where you want to start putting things on paper, on the calendar, and making it a priority. You want to prioritize quadrant 2, which is the extraordinary. What is the things that need to take place in your life that's going to make your life feel extraordinary? We don't want to live, we weren't intended to live ordinary. We weren't intended to be ordinary beings. There's only a one-of-a-kind you. There's only a one-of-a-kind gift within you that God has placed on the inside of you. So why not make your life extraordinary, just as extraordinary as your gifts are? Make your life that way too, because when you do, you are going to be so fulfilled. And when you are fulfilled, your health goes up, your finances go up. It is called total prosperity, guys. It is when your health goes up, your emotional state, your mental well-being, your physical well-being, your financial well-being. These are the areas, this is the quadrant where you plan and you are intentional about your life. And I can't stress that enough. So if you're going to take your time back, it has to be by quadrant 2. I want to read this scripture to you because, of course, this is faith-based, and I wouldn't be true to me if I didn't have scripture to back up anything. Now, they don't teach for the scripture in Franklin Covey. They don't outright give us scripture, but I do due diligence where I go in and I say, okay, God, show me this where it says this in the word. Show me how this applies to what your word says. And I compare and I bring it in light of the word. And this is what I found. Here's scripture. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. Now, I'm going to ask you guys something, because every time I've read that scripture, for the life of me, although I know what the word haste means, I always read it as if haste meant like procrastination, laziness, things like that. Forgetting and not realizing that when I was breaking it down, even just before, the video, and just really saying, wait, what are these words? That haste really means a state of urgency, of speed, being of speed, hurry, extreme pressure, extreme speed. So that is quadrant 1. And the Bible is saying when we are constantly in that important and urgent quadrant in our life, living from that place, as surely as haste leads to poverty. Poverty, what does poverty look like for you? It is not just your finances. Are you in poverty in your spirit? Are you in poverty? Are you impoverished? Do you feel impoverished in your soul, in your emotions, in your mental well-being, in your relationships, and of course, yes, in your finances, in your health and your well-being, your physical well-being? Where do you feel bankrupt? Where do you feel that you have lost it? Where has haste, living in that constant running around and urgency and got to take care of this and got to take care of that and giving yourself no buffer room, no room to breathe, no room to pull back and recharge in his presence and within yourself? Where has that caused poverty to take access within your life? I want you to think about that, because that means there are some things that need to shift. And the good news is it can shift. But here's what the beginning of that scripture says: the plans of the diligent lead to profit. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. So let me tell you what diligent means: steady, earnest, and energetic. That is quadrant 2, my friends. Steady, earnest, and energetic. So what that means is taking things one step at a time, going through the motions and having intentionality, planning, scheduling, sticking to the plan, sticking to the schedule, creating a list, checking things off in the order that they're of importance. Those are the things that lead to profit within your life. And what is profit? It's prosperity, it's overflow, it's greatness. And that's where you want to be. So it almost seems like that was, what other quadrants do we need to talk about? Because those two seem like the polar opposites, and that's where I live and where I need to be, right? But there are 2 other quadrants in our life operating. It's kind of like, when you have your computer on and you don't properly shut it down and you still have systems running in the background. Let's talk about these next 2 quadrants, because that's exactly what it's like in your life. Systems running on behind the scenes that are still activated and draining the energy out of your life force. So I want to read this scripture before I go into them. Psalms 90:12. It says, "Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom." It's so important to know God. In the psalm, the psalmist was asking God, teach me to number my days. Give me wisdom on how to handle my days. Give me what I need to know so that I can move with wisdom and understanding. And so it's so important to know those things, because when you know those things, you can have the heart of wisdom to discern what needs to stay and what needs to go. And so in quadrant 3, we're going to get into quadrant 3. This is the quadrant of distractions. Let me hear you say it. Distractions. I've been there. Sometimes I got to catch myself. You know distractions, right? These are the needless interruptions. Phone call that you weren't expecting, or somebody just dropping by, and now you were supposed to be washing clothes, but now you're entertaining company, or you were supposed to do something and now someone comes to your desk and you're in the middle of something, but they stop you to talk to you. Irrelevant meetings. We're gonna have a meeting, and when you get there, the meeting has nothing to do with the job. It's just like used up space in the day. Other people's minor issues. How many of you are filled with other people's minor issues? Other people's emergencies wind up becoming your own. Now, we're not talking about quadrant 1 emergencies that are your emergencies. I'm talking about quadrant 3 emergencies, which are other people's urgencies trying to come to you. This is the not important and urgent. They're urgent, but they're not important to you. It just is what it is, right? Unimportant emails. How many of you are spending all day checking your Yahoo, your Gmails, your Facebook Messenger, Facebook, things like that. Tasks, phone calls, status posts, just things that are keeping you distracted. And what is distraction? It's exactly like it sounds, guys. dis-traction. It is the things that take you off course. It is the things that take you off your focus. It is moving you off from your momentum. A long-term effect of this is unfulfillment, being tired and unproductive, and it causes a low return of investment. You don't get really much back. You're just helping other people get what they need, but it's really not important to you, but it's urgent. But because of that, it doesn't really bring much to your life, right? And so how much of that are you filling your days with and not really filling it with the things that matter? Now, am I saying any of this is wrong? Absolutely not. It is important to want to help your neighbor, whatever neighbor looks like for you, whether it's a coworker, an actual neighbor in your area, your community, your home, your family, your spouse, your friends, your extended family, whatever the case may be, whatever your neighbor needs, it may be important that, I want to help them. I care about them. It matters to me that I care about them, but what I'm doing for them really doesn't matter to me. But it matters that they get what they need. That's okay that you want to help. But those are the things you also need to schedule. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that at the end. So the action to take in order to move from distraction back to ordinary to extraordinary, because remember, everything we're doing is to get to that extraordinary place. So in quadrant 1, you're going to handle that and then get back to your extraordinary quadrant 2. In quadrant 3, when there are plenty of distractions, you're going to discern, decide, and make a decision on how you're going to move forward. Discern, is this really something that needs to be handled right now in this very moment? And then decide what you're going to do about it. And then you move forward. So in the decision of that, you can say, I'm going to handle this right now and then get back to and treat it like a quadrant 1. Or I'm going to actually ask the person and say, hey, I really had plans for this, or I'm in the middle of this, X, Y, and Z. It matters to me to help you, but can I get back to you? And you plan and schedule that. However, this is what I want you to do when you're planning and scheduling it. You don't put that at the top of the list of your quadrant 2. It doesn't come to your quadrant 2 list of things that are important to do. What it does is you fit it in. It's not so much that you plan and schedule it, you actually fit it in to where you may have space without taking away your buffer rooms. Remember, guys, you need rest in between things. And then we have this, guys. So what you want to do with quadrant 3 is you want to plan for it and you want to minimize and limit it. You want to limit that. You may have to say no. Quadrant 3 are the areas where you're kind of like maybe, later, or no. It's either going to be yes, I'll do it right now. First it's a maybe, right? Then it's a okay, yes, I'm going to do it right now. Or it's going to be, can we schedule for later? Or it's going to be a no. Just those 3 options. Yes, now, and then you quickly do it and move quickly back to your quadrant 2. Or it's going to be a, can we schedule for a later time? And then you schedule it and you fit it into an area that you have room for. And then, a time frame, that's what I mean by area. And then you quickly go back to quadrant 2. Or it's just simply a flat no. I'm sorry, I can't right now. That's what you do. So then you got quadrant 4. Quadrant 4 is called this, guys. It's simply called waste. Waste. A waste of time, a waste of energy. And let me give you an example of what that is. Trivial work. That's like when you have nothing to do and you just start, I'm going to sort my files. And it really doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't put a dent in any of the work that matters to you. Avoidance activities, and I'm a culprit of this. We can do this. We are the culture of Netflix, right? Or putting on one show and saying, I'm just going to watch this one episode. And before you know it, you're 6 episodes in and they're an hour long each and your whole Saturday is gone. You know what the kind of how much of a book you could have written in the time that you've watched a whole show in 6 episodes, 8 episodes, 10 episodes. I'm preaching to the choir, guys. I know. I'm telling you, this radically changed my thinking when I took this class. Excessive relaxation, television, gaming, internet, time wasters, and gossip. I want to say like this though. Let me tell you like this. We do need pleasure in our lives. We do need play. We do need rest. We do need that kind of like that defrag activity where we can kind of shut things off to kind of calm down and decompress, right? From everything. But we can't live there. We can't make that the priority of the day. We can't give a big, huge chunk of our day and time to that. Now, unless you're sick and you're just in recovery and all you can do is lay there and maybe watch TV, that's different. I mean, you have to kind of sort where you are, because in that moment, priority is rest, right? And here's the thing is rest. What rest truly means is resting is what rejuvenates you, what recharges you. So for some people, I may say rest, and resting for them is cleaning their house because it actually makes them feel good. It's the thing that you do that almost seems like a quadrant 2 activity. It's the thing that you do that makes you feel so much better, so much more. For some people, it's working out. For some people, it's taking a walk. For some people, it's being in nature. For some people, it's being by water. For some people, it's talking with a friend. For some people, it's just playing a game with their family. For some people, it is sleeping. We need sleep, guys. 6 to 8 hours a night. And whatever rest seems for you, you do that because it actually brings the return of investment for you. But if it's just sucking the day and you feel no different at the end of it all, you ever watch a movie and go, I'll never get that 2 hours back. That is a time waster. It just is. And so what you need to do when those happen is you use the rest in moderation. So you do have to schedule rest in. So rest is very important for you in a quadrant 2 activity, as in a quadrant 2 activity, but you don't live there. You don't make that your priority. You don't give it your whole day and all your time, because here's what happens. Long-term effect of a waste quadrant is you become lethargic, ineffective, and no return of investment. What do you get back? Here's the difference. You choose a Netflix show, right? And you're like, I'm going to watch this series on Saturday. And you're by yourself and you're just going to watch it. After the series is over, what benefit did it give you? Did it make you feel better? Did it make you feel more energetic? Did it make you feel great? Then that might have been a waster. But let's say it's a Saturday and you're married, or you have a significant other, or you have your children, and you say, we're going to have a marathon and watch, I don't know. I'm a nerd sometimes. So Lord of the Rings marathon. I don't know. Pick a series and you're going to have a marathon, but that's your connecting quality time. And connection and quality time is a quadrant 2 activity for you, is a quadrant desire. It's a priority for you. Then it's not a waste, because it is the tool and the vehicle you use to fulfill the quadrant 2 experience. Does that make sense to you? You got to learn to discern the difference. And if it's just not bringing a return, if it's just not edifying you, building you up, educating you, or bringing you to another level of energy or growth, then it's just a waste. There's nothing to it. Now, again, I do want to say there is balance. Yes, we do things for rest. We can watch a movie. We can go out. We can do all those things. But in moderation, in balance. You want to have that in balance. And so you either want to do it in moderation and in balance, or just eliminate it altogether. So it's either going to be, I'll do some of this or none of it. That's where quadrant 4 matters to you. And I want to say this. I hope that this made sense to you. I tried to bring in the information enough to where you could possibly understand and think about what are the things that you're filling your days and your time and your energy with, and decide, put them in those categories. Like make a master list of all the things that you're filling your days with. What does your life look like in a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? And then you have to determine, where does this fit? in these quadrants? Is this a waster, or is this something that makes my life extraordinary? Does this make my life better? Does this make things better for me and those around me? Or, or is it I'm living in a bunch of emergencies constantly, or I'm constantly in distraction and I'm avoiding something? Then you have to get to the root of that. What are you avoiding and why? And so I want to read this scripture to you, because this really narrows it and sums it up. Ephesians 5:15-17. And I think I might have read it last week as well. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. Yeah, I think I did read this last week. Making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. What is evil? Is anything apart from God. There are many things out there that can take our attention and our worship away from God, our Creator. And it's saying, make the most of every opportunity. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. We are called to live intentional. We are called to be problem solvers. And how good can you be intentional and a problem solver if your energy and your time are being wasted on things you were never called to do? I said it last week. Do the things that God is calling you to do. And stop trying to carve out these images of this idea of what you think it should be, and just do what He's opening up, the opportunities He's opening up for you. But then when those opportunities come, guys, use this tool, this matrix. He will give you the wisdom to discern where it belongs. What are the priorities? What are the things that He needs you to handle right now? What are the things you need to plan and schedule? What are the other things that need to go away because they're either a distraction or a time waster? Or how to balance those things and fit them in around the schedule that He's given you. He has granted each and every one of us 24 hours in the day. All of us. We have the same amount of time in the day. What you do with it may be different than what I do with it. But all I want to encourage you to do is to be wise in how you spend your time, so that you have the energy and the health and the fortitude and the provision to do and fulfill everything that He's called you to do and fulfill, to position yourself to receive the blessings that He has for you, because they come in opportunities and relationships. And we'll miss it if we're constantly focusing on the wrong things. And I want you strong and I want you well, and so does He. So I hope this video has blessed you. I hope that it spoke something to you. If it did, do me a favor and please share this video with someone that might need it. Share it on your social media pages. And again, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification, and like this page and like this video. I so appreciate you. I love you, ladies. Be blessed and have a wonderful rest of the week. And I will see you next week with a new video on the Lair Studio Lioness Diaries. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.